Streaming live on News8000.com. This is News 8 Now, this morning.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Alexandra Carter.
Jeff Andrews.
It is Monday, December 18th, 2023. We're in for a cold, chilly day, aren't we?
Yeah, could you hear the winds
whistling?
Yes. I was afraid to look outside.
I know, it's a little bit scary, a little bit jarring, waking up as early as we do. You don't know what's out there.
As a meteorologist, I mean, it shouldn't be a shocker to me, but I still thought, something weird happened. I knew we had a cold front that was going to approach and pass, and that's what all led to what we experienced on the overnight, including a few flakes and some icy conditions for some right now. It's pretty spotty when we're looking at the satellite radar combo across the state right now. For us, very, very spotty as far as any kind of snow shower activity. Shouldn't see any kind of accumulation today, fortunately, but like I said, maybe a little slick in some spots. Very spotty at that as well. Right now, La Crosse at 28. Further north, we have 22 Eau Claire, Winona 27, Black River Falls right now. It's 26 as we go across the day today. Temperatures actually heading backwards as we go through the course of the day, slowly dropping. We're going to have some sunshine. That's the upside, I guess, but the winds are going to be with us as well out of the northwest, 10 to 15 miles an hour, gusting upwards of 25 miles an hour, maybe some spots. Eau Claire, perhaps 35-mile-an-hour wind gusts today, but things get better as far as the winds and also our temperatures, too. I'll have that in your full forecast that's coming up. Alexandra?
All right, Jeff, thank you. We will see you in a little bit. U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin returns to Israel this morning amid reports the U.S. is pushing the country to scale back the intensity of its war in Gaza. That comes as Israel has signaled openness to renew talks to free more hostages. CBS News' Naomi Ruckham has more for us from New York.
Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin is receiving an update from Israeli officials on its war against Hamas and pushing for more civilian protections and humanitarian aid for Gaza during his trip to Tel Aviv today. Israel has stepped up its attacks in Gaza despite growing international calls for a ceasefire, particularly following the accidental killing of 3 hostages by Israeli defense forces. Blasts at a United Nations-run school and a maternity and children's hospital over the weekend in southern Gaza killed at least 6 people. And also over the weekend, crowds swarmed and raided trucks carrying much-needed humanitarian aid into Gaza. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu vowed to continue his country's fight against Hamas, while also acknowledging that Israel and Qatar have restarted talks on the release of hostages. CBS News 60 Minutes spoke with one of the dozens of hostages freed during last month's week-long ceasefire.
The goal was get me into Gaza, showing me off as a trophy.
Israeli forces say they found the largest and longest Hamas tunnel to date, located adjacent to Gaza's northern border. The IDF says they believe Hamas used the roughly 2.5-mile-long tunnel to prepare for the deadly October 7th attacks and move hostages.
Israel's military says it's reviewing reports 2 women were killed at a Christian church compound in Gaza by Israeli sniper fire. Pope Francis has condemned the incident as terrorism. The United Nations Security Council is expected to vote on a resolution as soon as today, calling for a ceasefire in the Middle East. The U.S. vetoed a similar resolution earlier this month. The U.S. Customs and Border Protection is announcing they'll suspend operations at some of the railway crossings along the southern border starting today. The agency says the bridges in Eagle Pass and El Paso, Texas will be closed temporarily to allow Border Patrol agents to focus on processing those who've already entered the country. The agency is reporting that more than 4,000 migrants were apprehended in the region yesterday. Homeland Security officials say the recent increase is due to the lack of federal resources. A few tense moments for President Biden's Secret Service detail while the president was entering his armored SUV last night. After having dinner with campaign staffers at his campaign headquarters in Wilmington, Delaware, the president was getting ready to head back to Washington when suddenly there was a loud bang in the distance after a sedan crashed into one of the vehicles in the president's motorcade. Following the crash, the president was rushed into his vehicle and driven away. Agents also surrounded the vehicle with guns drawn and ordered the driver to put their hands up. President Biden was not hurt in the crash. Calls are growing for Donald Trump's former Wisconsin lawyer Jim Troupis to resign from his position on a state judicial ethics panel. Liberals argue Troupis should step down given his involvement in advising 10 fake pro-Trump electors in Wisconsin following Joe Biden's certified 2020 election win in the state. Critics say Troupis's role in the scheme to overturn the election results calls his own ethics into question and undermines the integrity of the Judicial Conduct Committee he sits on. Since the reversal of Roe v. Wade, new data shows there's been an uptick in out-of-state patients getting abortions in Minnesota. The number of non-Minnesota residents receiving abortions in the state jumped from 9% to 30% between 2020 and 2023, according to figures from the Guttmacher Institute. Nationwide, 1 in 5 patients now has to travel across state lines to get an abortion. Minnesota's DFL-led legislature doubled down on abortion rights protections this last session, but providers expect out-of-state abortion patients to continue rising as other states like Texas restrict access.
When we have abortion bans, they don't ban abortions for everyone. They only ban abortions for people who don't have the means or the opportunity to travel.
Next year, DFL leaders at the Capitol plan to discuss a constitutional amendment to explicitly put abortion rights in the state constitution. Some Viterbo University students are moving on up to the graduation stage. More than 100 students walked across the stage of the Fine Arts Center main theater this weekend. 26 graduates and 100 undergraduates received their diplomas. Accounting and music double major Kylie Cron gave the undergraduate student address. In that speech, she says she made mistakes, but the mistakes did not interfere with her success. She shares what makes her stronger.
I love to reassure how making mistakes and reflecting on them is the best way to learn and to become more than what you thought possible. I'm not afraid of what made me stronger. If anything, I treasure how I've overcome and become who I am now.
Cron adds you should never refuse to consult others in your field and to remain a pupil forever, no matter how famous you become. Viterbo University graduates not the only ones moving on to a new chapter. Yesterday, UWL students walked across the stage at the La Crosse Center for winter 2023 commencement. The ceremony featured students graduating with undergraduate, graduate, and associate degrees.
I'm going to probably teach in the school district of La Crosse, so I'm super excited. Yeah, I'm doing interviews right now, but I'm hoping for elementary school.
She moved here from Massachusetts. She says the La Crosse community has motivated her to stay here. Ashley for the Arts is announcing the headliner for its 15th annual upcoming 3-day music festival. The group behind the 3-day festival announced legendary rock band Journey will be taking center stage during the August festival. To celebrate the announcement, News 8 will be giving away 2 general admission tickets to attend. If you'd like to enter, we have details for you on our website with rules about the giveaway and how to enter. Winners of the giveaway will be notified via email. It is 6:08. Still to come on your morning news, General Motors driverless taxi company laid off about 1/4 of its workforce. This coming after one of its vehicles hit a pedestrian earlier this year. We'll share more details after the break.
An old way of flying is getting a new look. I'm Ian Lee with a cleaner and quieter way to travel.
For now, we're sending you to break with something to put the good in your morning. NASA giving us a look at the most powerful solar flare in 6 years. The massive flare happened midday Thursday. It even caused some radio interference on Earth for a short time. The solar phenomenon known as coronal mass ejection was captured by a spacecraft that has been monitoring the sun's activity since 2010. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration Space Weather Prediction Center calling it an amazing event. The last strongest solar flare was recorded in September of 2017. Don't go anywhere. Your consumer news at News 8 Now this morning is just after the break.
Well, it's 6:12. Glad you're with us this morning. Take note. We had some snow showers. We had a cold front pass through the course of the evening. On the backside of that, we're in the clearing process right now. The winds have picked up. It's pretty brisk, and the temperatures, they've gone the other direction. Black River, River Falls 26, 28 right now. La Crosse, Eau Claire at 22. Across the area, let's go through our zones. La Crosse County, 27 in Bangor, West Salem 27, 27 Berry Mills. It's pretty much mid and upper 20s across the area. Our southern zones at this point, pretty similar situation. About 130. Steuben, Lynxville 29, Viroqua right now at 25 degrees, working our way further north. Arcadia 27, 26 in Blair right now, Whitehall also 26. Just to show you for the record, it's 20s across the area. The further north you go, we're getting closer to that 20 mark as we go through the course of the day. Not much improvement at the bus stop. Dress accordingly. You won't have to dress for getting wet, but dress for the cold. 25, we're going to start to see some sunshine as we get a little deeper into the day today. Pickup time, lots of sunshine. 23, got a chilly night ahead, but warmer days ahead too. I have your full forecast coming up. Alexandra?
Thank you, Jeff. In your consumer news this morning, General Motors self-driving car subsidiary Cruise is firing about 25% of its workforce. Those layoffs come months after months of discussion and years of financial hardship for Cruise. The cuts will affect about 900 of Cruise's full-time employees. In October, a driverless Cruise vehicle hit a pedestrian in San Francisco who had already been struck by another vehicle. Then the Cruise vehicle dragged that pedestrian about 20 feet. In the wake of that incident, California regulators suspended Cruise's driverless taxi testing permits. Grubhub releasing a list of its most delivered food items for the year. This year, French fries came in as the top ordered side. Surprisingly, over 500,000 people paired them with a salad. I think that's a good combo. And customers loved the heat, more than 90,000 of them adding sriracha to their orders. Night owls relying on Grubhub to get them through their evenings with caffeine. The company said they had more than 10 million late-night coffee orders. An old way of air travel is getting a new look. A company in England is creating helium-filled aircraft that fly and look like blimps. Hybrid Air Vehicles hopes its ultra-low emission aircraft can revolutionize how people and cargo move. CBS's Ian Lee reports from London.
Looking at it, you might think it's a blimp. Some nicknamed it the Flying Bum, but makers of the Airlander 10 call this the future of flight.
What we have here is an aircraft that's using helium. It's using the same stuff that blimps use, just to get a little head start against gravity, but not enough to float.
Tom Grundy from Hybrid Air Vehicles is getting the concept off the ground.
I got 16 Olympic swimming pools worth of helium up there.
But it's the 4 engines that push it airborne with the aerodynamics of an airplane.
That's why we call it a hybrid aircraft. It's a hybrid of an airplane and an airship.
But the similarities to an airplane end there. Big glass windows give a panoramic view.
It's a bit more like being in the airport lounge than it is being on the airplane.
Quieter.
Quiet, low vibration, none of that bouncy turbulence that we're all used to.
The aircraft will initially be fitted out with 100 seats to travel up to 250 miles at 80 miles an hour.
Like a ferry, it can go to a terminal in the middle of a town rather than having to land at an airport a long way out.
How much greener is